Hello, this is Rashmi Bandari, and today I've got Rahul Kamath with me. Hello, Rahul.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning. So Rahul is from the final year EC branch 2021, and he has got into Hexaware. So Rahul, would you please tell the viewers, what was the eligibility criteria and when did this happen? In August, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
The procedure was long, kind of. So this exam took place, like registration started around August 15th or something, around that, and then they gave a particular date, like when we have the slot for the exam. So the slot was given, and then the eligibility was given, like it was 60% throughout 10th, 12th, and engineering as well. And the role which we were applying for was graduate engineering trainee. There was another role as well, which was premium graduate engineering trainee, which is like an upgradation from graduate engineering trainee. It was like if you maintain certain cutoffs and pass it in the graduate engineering trainee, you get qualified for that. So the package for graduate engineering trainee was 3.5 LPA, and the one for premium graduate engineering trainee was 5 LPA.
So you need to clear first the GTE, graduate training,
yes,
and then only if you clear that, then you can apply for the next one.
It's like there was 5 rounds in graduate engineering training. If you maintain cutoffs in each of the rounds, you'll get qualified. After you get selected for graduate engineering training, they'll send you a mail telling that you're shortlisted for premium graduate engineering training. So that exam is like, first of all, there are 5 rounds.
I think we'll start with the GT, the graduate engineering training. So how was the first part?
It consisted of 5 rounds, ma'am. The first one was general aptitude and technical aptitude. The second round was technical interview. The third round was communication, or people call it Versant round as well. Then the fourth round was learning agility, which is just like psychometry. And the fifth round was HR interview.
Okay. So how was the round? What was there in the aptitude?
So aptitude was basically like, ma'am, there were 78 questions. You had to complete it in 78 minutes. So the time constraint is a bit low for that.
Okay.
So it was divided into two halves, two halves. So it was like 48 marks, aptitude and verbal, like normal quants, logical and other stuff, and verbal. So that was in the first 48 questions. So the second 48 question is domain based. Like if you're an electronic student or an electrical student, you will get circuit branch related questions, like which was there in your second year. Like all your second year subjects like network analysis, digital electronics, analog electronics.
So what sort of questions in that?
The questions were really hard, ma'am. It wasn't like a easy student wouldn't get to know directly by just looking at it. Digital was logical, like you can understand by looking at it. But other all sections were, like it's again divided into 6 subsections, like 6 different sections, each of one subject. So one was digital, one was analog, one was network analysis, so like that. So the first digital part was kind of easy, but the remaining parts were very hard. It's like those are the subjects which we had in our second year, but it's like you have to, it's an application based, like it's an extension of whatever was there in our second year. So it takes time to think for it. So 30 minutes is kind of low for it. So what you have to do is, you have to finish the numerical part and numerical aptitude before time itself. Right? It's together, ma'am. 78 minutes shared between those. So if you finish the quants and all in 30 minutes, so you'll get enough time for this thing, domain based. So for me, time was enough, but the questions were really hard. So it's very hard to think, ma'am. If you learn into core deeply, then it's possible. But it's fine. The cutoff is lesser than the aptitude part. So they focus more on aptitude and stuff. Aptitude was kind of easy, ma'am. Like there were questions like odd ones out, pick the odd man out, or like syllogisms and data interpretation, data arrangement, those stuff. Those all were simple. It's like easy to moderate level questions. So that was the part of aptitude, ma'am. That was the aptitude.
So, but then they had the technical also in the aptitude.
Yes, ma'am. It was shared in the.
And for CS students, it was CS?
Yes, ma'am. Like for EC, as I told, second year subjects. For CS, it was second year and third year probably. Like they had data structures, DBMS, OOPS concepts, operating system, networking, and normal programming fundamentals. That was for CS.
Alright. So once you clear it, it immediately go to the next round, or how was it?
Yes, ma'am. They took around 5 days to announce the result, and then they sent a link like telling your technical interview has been scheduled with your HR, and it will be in 2 days. So they gave a 2 days time span for studying.
So you studied something in those 2 days, or?
Yes, ma'am. It's like I tried to focus because I had attended SAP labs as well. I messed up kind of over there. So I had to focus more on Hexaware. Like I was worried that if I get nervous like SAP labs itself. So I focused more on projects
Okay.
and technical stuff, because since this is an IT profile, graduate engineering training is for an IT profile.
Yes.
So I focused more on programming languages and my project is the most important part, and then I focused on operating systems and database management systems as well.
So how was the interview? What did they ask you?
So the HR during the interview round after 2 days, the HR was very nice, ma'am. Like he was lenient as well, and he wanted to make me feel comfortable. He got to know that I'm comfortable, so he was smiling throughout the whole.
But that's a technical person, right?
Yes, ma'am. It was completely technical. No
Yes.
HR stuff and all that. So he asked me firstly about tell me about yourself. He was like, explain me something about yourself and what you do in electronics and stuff. I told him a brief explanation through my profile, and I explained. Okay, then he asked me about the projects which I made. He was like, okay, nice profile. Since we had even got selected for an online contest, like World India-wide contest, he was impressed there. So we had made a project there as well. So he asked me more about that project. He was like, okay, you got selected over here. So explain me about that
What
project.
was that project?
It was IoT based, ma'am. Embedded based, like for electronics. It's both fusion of hardware and software. So it's on the safer side, like if you want to go to core or IT.
So it was what? It was a competition, or you? I mean, how was it?
It was an online competition held by Texas Instrument.
All right.
So
how did you come to know about it?
the college sent us mail, like Texas Instruments sent college a mail, and that mail was forwarded to us, and we registered over there. So the person HR was like, okay, nice. Can you explain me about this project?
Okay.
So I explained him in brief, ma'am, like through all the components and everything. He was quite impressed. He was like, okay, the reason we ask you projects in like the most important thing in IT service companies are the projects itself. They want to know how technically sound you are. Like that's the perfect platform for them to understand how much you know. So project, if you explain properly, 80% of your work is done. Like they'll be like impressed there itself. So my HR was impressed at that point. So I knew selection was guaranteed. I would just be confident. Like you should be confident enough. So that person will be like, okay, this guy is confident. He can explain well, and he knows his project. So that guy was like, the main reason why we ask for projects is because we need to know how much the student knows, and if people know it, we will feel satisfied. Like our time hasn't been wasted. He said that. So that I felt like my moral got boosted over there. So then he asked me like, what's the difference between hardware programming and software programming? So I explained him that. Then he asked me, okay, that was done with the projects related. So then I knew that I would get selected, so I just kept my confidence going. Like whatever he asked, just tell him with whole confidence. That's the most important part in the interview. So he asked me about what are the programming languages I'm familiar with. I said the programming languages which I'm familiar with. He asked me how good are you at it.
Which are the languages?
Python and C I said for normal programming language, ma'am, for practical purposes. So then he asked me if I know DBMS as well. Being an electronics engineer, do you know it? So I told him I had taken so many courses I had taken around 10 to 15 courses in this lockdown time.
Yeah.
So I explained him that, ma'am. He was like, okay, nice, you didn't waste your time. He was telling like, I thought of asking you this question in the end, like, did you use your time in lockdown perfectly? So I told him here itself, he was like, okay, thank God you told it now itself. You are making the questions lesser and lesser for me. So I explained him that, and I told him I know DBMS as well. Then he asked me what are the familiar, what packages I told him Python is my favorite language, like among those, because most of the inbuilt functions are there in Python which are not there in C. So he asked me what are the packages you use in Python, some of the familiar and cool packages which you used. So I told him about that, and then he was like, okay, do you know about OOPS concepts? So I was like, yes sir, I know about it. He asked me what is object-oriented programming and what is polymorphism and what are the types of polymorphism.
So these are all definitions or?
Theoretical concepts, ma'am, like 2-3 lines, that's it. They just want, you can tell them in layman terms as well, simple terms. They don't need theoretical answers, they just need to know if you know the answer. So that's the point. Then nextly he asked me about, he asked me that courses, he asked me again, like what these courses and all you did, so it's nice, so what you learned in this, what you learned in this. So
what are some of the certifications that you've done?
I did 2 to 3 courses on Python, then 2 courses on C, 1 course on C++, one.
So these are not, what have you done? In which year? From Udemy or?
No ma'am, it's like college provided free license for
Coursera.
Coursera.
Coursera, yes.
So I did, that was very helpful.
That was helpful?
Yeah, very helpful.
A lot of students have done that,
Yeah,
right?
it's if you have the free license, you have to go for it. It's like a boosting point for your profile. Like your profile will be empty, right? They know you did some course. They'll be like, okay, thank God he knows something. So Coursera courses are really good, and I had done on TCS platform as well and Udemy courses as well. So those were the things. Then he asked me pretty much that much. Yeah, that's it, I guess, ma'am. And then he asked me if you are okay with object-oriented programming. Like, do you know only theoretical or do you know practical as well? I told him I know a bit about practical, but I don't have huge exposure. I just did courses on it, so I know only the basics and foundation part. So he was like impressed. Like generally the interview takes only for 10 minutes, ma'am, but for me the interview went for 35 minutes. People shouldn't get stressed to that. It got extended. Like you shouldn't think, oh, he's asking me more and more questions. I guess he's not satisfied. He's asking because he's happy with you and he wants to know how much you know for it. And since it was for a cutoff for the premium graduate engineering training, they need to know, right, if you are worth it. So he was asking that many questions. So he told me like, you'll get the next, we'll probably see you and in the next round, and he just left the call. He asked me if he had any questions. I had any questions. So I told him, sir, can you give an introduction about yourself? Since he hadn't given in the beginning. So even he realized, he was like, oh, I should have explained in the beginning itself. But then he told which branch is he from and what he does in Hexaware and all. So then he asked me, do you have any more questions? So I asked him like, sir, can you give a feedback about me, like where I can improve, what in this interview, what I did bad, so that I have to improve myself as a person. So he was like, okay, you were good, you were technically sound, but try to focus more on object-oriented programming. Since you are an EC student, you won't have huge exposure towards it. It's very important in your life. So just focus a bit more on that. So otherwise, it's fine, he told. So that interview went there now. So
and then after that, you did have an HR round? No.
There were 2 more rounds. No? The third round was communication round. The results came as soon as it's the same day as the interview was in the morning. The mail came in the evening telling that you are selected for the Versant round or communication round. It's like that round is like very different, ma'am. It's like there were 5 subsections in that round itself. They basically just want to check your speech and listening skills. So that is what. It's like you have to set up, you need a headset for that, like mandatory headset. Otherwise the metallic sound coming from a laptop will disturb. And so you need a headset. So what
you knew about all this? You had kept
I had read about it.
Actually you can type Versant round, VERSANT I think. And this is there with many of the companies. This is the communication round.
It's there on YouTube as well. YouTube is the best platform to check everything. So the Versant round, they gave me the mail of that. So it had 5 sections. So they basically want to check your listening skills, passage reading skills, your memory, your fluency in English, and essay writing. So what happened in this round was like, first you have to calibrate your headset, like check if the mic is working properly or not. You have to have a proper headset. Now this round is very difficult for you. Like, so that's the point of that round. So the first section in that was listening test. Like there will be 7 questions, ma'am. There's a play button. You have to click on the play button. So you will get the audio voice. Like it will be pretty easy, like 7 seconds long audio voice. So in that you have to listen to that, and then you will get the time to speak. Like you will get the time to speak. Your mic will automatically get enabled at that point. You have to repeat the sentence which was told to you. So there were around 7 to 8 questions in that. The first 3 questions were very like simple, like directly, like casual talking type. Friends, how they talk, that. But after the 4th question, it was like different accent was involved and faster rate of speech. The last 7th one is like it's like inaudible itself. Like they just rush it. So just to see if you can realize it fast and process it faster in your brain.
But you could understand it?
Yes, ma'am. If you listen carefully, you can understand. You need proper headsets. Otherwise, the Zero systems and all will not work fine. So that was the end of the first section. The second section was passage listening. Like they tell you a long story, ma'am, like a related story. So that related story is like they'll tell you different sentences at once itself. Only once you can listen to it. So when you listen to it once, you have to process it in your brain and remember all the stuff. Like it's a 10 sentences line. Like it's a story type. You can understand how the sequence goes. And after that, around for 1.5 seconds it will be there. I mean 1.5 minutes. So after that 1.5 minutes ends, then you will get the time to attempt for the MCQ questions. MCQ questions are like whatever was there in the passage. They'll ask like if they say like Priya tamed a dog and then she took the dog for a walk. Her dad washed her car, I mean daughter's car. So like that stuff they'll tell you in sequential order. And in the question they'll ask you like, where did the dog go? Like that. So you have to answer FCQ questions like that. So 5 questions or something will be there, 2 different passages or 3 will be there. So that is the end of the second section. The third section is your fluency test. They'll give you some statements like, which is your favorite game? Why did you like it? When you used to play it? Do you still play it? Why do you still play it? So you have to combine these 5 questions and they'll give you 1.3 minutes to talk about it. So you have to make sentences and form sentences and just talk to it. Here they just see your fluency, like how good you are at communicating and can you put the words together properly or not. So that was the fluency check. Then the fourth subsection was verbal round, non-verbal round. I'm filling the blanks, passive, direct sentence, indirect sentence, those stuff, synonyms and those stuff.
But this English part didn't come in the aptitude.
It was there in aptitude as well as because they just want to see if you're good in English here. Because they don't want to waste time in HR round again. Like main filtering process should be there.
Yes.
So that was the thing. So next after that was last was essay writing in that subsection. The essay writing was like limit to 200 words. So in limit to 200 words you have to explain. They'll give you a random sentence. An essay topic, and then you have to explain about that essay topic in under 200 words. So that data limit is important, ma'am. Under 200 words only you have to complete it. So that was the end of communication round. So the next round was learning agility round. Learning agility round is very simple, ma'am. It's kind of non-elimination. It's like a psychometry test. They just want to see how is your behavior and relate to it. Like they'll ask you a question like, are you a team player? And they give you 5 options. You agree with this, you slightly agree with this, you hardly agree with this, you are completely agreeing with this, like that type of options and all. You have to select. Only 18 questions will be there, you will have around 20 minutes. Time is sufficient for that round as well. And the last round is HR round, ma'am. HR round was like, it was just for formality, ma'am.
Okay.
It's like
you can still not take the chances. Okay.
Don't take chances, that's the important thing.
Yes.
Just be confident with whatever you think. So the first 4 rounds were done and the last HR round was pending. So in the next, they sent the link the next day itself, like telling tomorrow is our HR round. So in the HR round it was very casual, ma'am. It was like the first question was like, tell me about yourself again. Here they want to see what and all academic qualifications you have and what stuff you have which are better than others. Then the second question was like, what are you passionate about and what are you expecting from Hexaware?
So what did you tell you were expecting from Hexaware?
So I told ma'am like I actually heard that Hexaware training is very like good like compared to other companies, and so I wanted that training as well. And then I told them like I want to grow personally, like I want to be technically and I feel this position will give me a concrete stand over the technical knowledge in that aspect. So domains were also good in that they work on stack development and those stuff. So I told them what and all I knew about Hexaware, and I told them I will even contribute to the company. Like I'll contribute to the growth of the company with the help of my I'll grow technically. So that way I was quite satisfied there. And then the HR round was done. He just asked about are you okay with reallocating and are you fine with the service agreement, 2-year service agreement, and are you fine with the package? So that was the end of. He told me like in the end, he's like, you'll receive your offer letter or letter of intent within 2 days. Just wait for it. So that was the end of graduate engineering trainee position.
So Rahul, what was the next level for the premium graduate level?
Okay, so as you finished your 5 sections of APT and technical interview and those stuff, they kept marks for each of the sections. Like you need to get 80% above in APT and good in a technical interview, like you explained most of the stuff, and even in communication you need to get above certain. That time you will get shortlisted for the premium graduate engineering training. That is for 5 LPA package. Here they need people who can code. Like in the first part there was only no coding type questions. And for upgrading of your package, like if you don't get shortlisted in the premium graduate engineering training, but you'll still have the graduate engineering training package. So that's one good point about it. So then they told about like if you get above certain things, you'll get shortlisted. I got the mail that I was shortlisted. So then they gave me the link for the coding assessment. That coding assessment was on Metal platform. There's a platform called Metal. So it was on that platform. They told that we can code specific to any programming languages. I checked which programming languages are compatible with the platform. They told it was Python, C, C++, and Java. I was quite okay with Python, so I was like, okay, it's fine.
Okay.
So the test was like, it had 2 coding questions, like both were problem solving, not stuff like theoretical, like palindrome stuff and all. It was problem solving. The difficulty was like moderate, ma'am, not even hard, not even difficult. It was kind of easy to moderate.
Okay.
So there were 2 questions, one was very easy, one was moderate. So the time for that assessment was like 1 hour, I guess, 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes, around that. So for 2 questions. So the problem here was like I didn't get shortlisted for the premium graduate engineering trainee, ma'am. It was like I gave the test. It was like there were 2 questions. In that first question, I could attempt in Python. Like I told you, right, ma'am.
Yeah.
My favorite is Python, and
Yeah.
C, I'm kind of slower, like putting all the syntax. Like you have to put semicolon everywhere, so that just slows me down. And it's print instead of printf. My mind as default, like it's printf, so print. So I have to put printf and also time was getting wasted. And the thing about this is when you give compile, you have to wait around 20 seconds or something.
Okay.
So they don't want you to just change code again and again and compile, so you get it fast.
Okay.
So what they do is they keep a 20 limit delay, like 20 seconds delay. Like after 20 seconds it gets compiled. So that was a bit of problem, like you can't execute faster. So that's kind of time consuming. So the Python question, where in one of the question they allowed Python, ma'am. It was C, C++, Java or Python. So that Python question was very simple. It's normal problem solving question, ma'am. Anyone can do it. So the second question was a bit moderate level, like you have to think a bit more for that. So in that only C, C++ and Java were available. You couldn't use Python in that because you can directly use inbuilt function for that and get that answer. So they knew about it.
So C is very important for any.
Yes, ma'am. C is very, very important. Even for Python, if you know C, Python is easier for you. That's why people prefer Python. Like that. But if you know Python, C becomes a bit more confusing because you have to put extra lines of code, extra brackets, semicolons.
But if you know C in the beginning and then you learn Python,
it's very easy.
It will be better.
Yeah, it's way better.
Okay.
So if you learn Python directly, you won't know what are these variables.
Okay.
So those stuff. So that was the thing. C programming question. What happened with my case was like I found the logic map, but it was taking time for me to implement it. So in C programming, I finally compiled it. So 3 of the test cases passed. It was fine. But I had a lot of for loops in my code. So what happens in these type of exams is where there will be moderate level question. They don't want you to get the answer this thing. They want it to be an efficient code. Like they want it to compile faster. Mine had a lot of for loops. So it takes more and more time for each for loop. They had specified a time limit in their PC, like it should be in these many milliseconds or nanoseconds it should process. Mine was a lot of for loops, no ma'am. So it wasn't getting compiled in time. So 3 of my test cases passed, the rest of the test cases were like time limit exceeded. So I was like, I couldn't do anything. I tried to optimize the code, but the time wasn't enough for me. So I submitted. So I had passed test cases of the first one completely, and I had passed 3 to 4 test cases of the second one. So I thought I would get shortlisted, but I didn't get shortlisted, ma'am. They wanted both the.
But anyway, you still have the other offer with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think a lot of learning.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So any message to the juniors or the viewers who are watching, especially since you're from the EC branch, so what should they be doing, for the whole process?
Yes, ma'am. Like whichever year you are in, but you have to focus more on APTI. Like whatever happens, APTI is the first assessment which they have to take you. Like filter a lot. So they need students who are good logically and quantitative wise. Like you need to know mathematical stuff as well. So they try to filter most of the students in APTI round itself. In these surveys, IT companies, what they do is they filter a lot of people in aptitude round, but they'll in the interview round they'll know that you have qualified the aptitude round, so you're fit for the position. So the main thing what I want to tell the juniors is like whichever year you are in, just focus a lot on APTI. I won't say a lot, but you have to know each of the concept in APTI, like HCF, LCM, all the different topics. You need to know at least 2 or 3 formulas. No matter what, those take hardly 10 seconds to know the formula, ma'am. It's logical as well. So this 10 seconds which you waste now can be helpful for you to get a job in the future. Like if you imagine you just failed by 1 mark cut off because you didn't know that concept in aptly. So what I tell is like you know each of the concept, at least know 2 of the concepts.
Any good books or what did you do?
I referred in second year college had providers like Olive Board and India Bex.
Yeah, and Reference Globe.
Reference Globe as well.
Yeah.
So Reference Globe is like a bit more higher level than other aptitudes. It's like if you know reference, I mean this thing, what India Bex. India Bex is very helpful, ma'am. Each of the topics, basic questions they have. So if you get fine with the basic questions, you will know how to implement it in the harder questions. So that is very important. So just study first in India Bex. If you complete all of the topics, then go for Reference Globe. Reference Globe is very helpful for higher level aptitude. Like easy to moderate level, India Bex is good. Moderate to high level aptitude, Reference Globe is way better. So they tell in depth. And as an EC student, just don't keep that one single mentality in your brain like you'll get into core company. That most of the people think that itself, like whatever happens, I'll get into a core company.
No. Let me tell you, since I in the companies, 95% of your companies will be IT companies, okay? Only 5% core, and those 5% core companies will be so stringent.
That's
It's very difficult
to crack.
It's absolutely difficult to crack, okay?
And again, aptitude is very important.
And then they put a lot of technical aptitude and everything, and then make it so miserable for you to clear. But then if you're really good, you still will clear. But on an average, I think you should be okay with the.
It's better if you know both of them. It's like if you're good in core subjects as well, what will go if you study more on technical of IT stream as well? It will guarantee help you at one point as well. So whatever happens, EC students should study programming languages as well. Since HackerRank, there are platforms like HackerRank, HackerEarth, which will help you a lot in programming. It goes on from the basics to the hardcore programming.
So you practice in
Yes, ma'am. HackerRank, I didn't use HackerEarth, I used HackerRank a lot. The most important thing what I tell EC students to practice on is the problem solving part. Like there are different sections in HackerRank, like Python programming, C programming, like higher, average, intermediate level, higher level. So what I tell you is study problem solving. Like problem solving will be like problem solving itself, man. Logical solutions you have to find out. You have to find the logic of the code. At some point of time, it will definitely help you because you'll know to think logically instead of theoretical book knowledge. So that will be helpful for EC students, ma'am.
So thank you, Rahul, very much for this.
Thank you,
and I hope this was helpful to you all. Till we meet again, it's bye from both of us.